This video series is brought to you by StarCityGames.com. Visit us for all your Magic the Gathering needs. In this Legacy Decknology segment, we'll take a look at Fish, a blue-green force that uses merfolk, counterspells, and monster equipment to get the job done. Here is an example of Fish, as piloted to third place at the Star City Games Legacy Open in Dallas-Fort Worth recently. Let's take a look at what makes this deck work. This deck is called Fish because many of its stars are fish people, aka merfolk. Up first is Curse Catcher. He may appear harmless, but a force spike for instants or sorceries is very powerful when so many Force of Wills, Brainstorms, and Swords to Plowshares can be disrupted by this creature. Lord of Atlantis makes your other merfolk bigger, and most importantly provides them with Island Walk, a very powerful ability in a format so dominated by blue spells. Merfolk Regery allows tricks like untapping your own lands to give you more mana, or untapping your Merfolk Sovereign to make more merfolk unblockable. Merfolk Sovereign is the creature that can give you a long game shot at winning despite your opponent's forces, allowing you to still connect no matter what may be on the other side of the battlefield. Silvergill Adept is a 2/1 for 2 mana that draws you a card, or at least that's how she is supposed to work, while Tarmogoyf is the only non-merfolk creature in the deck simply because it's huge for only 2 mana. One last thing to note. While not technically a creature, Mutavault is very important to this deck, as it turns into a 2/2 changeling who is a merfolk in addition to other creature types, and as such gets bonuses from Lord of Atlantis, pumped by Merrill Regery, and can be made unblockable thanks to Merfolk Sovereign. The spells in this deck all propel your small creatures to greatness. The key interaction is that between Aether Vial, an artifact that only needs a few counters on it before you can tap it and put virtually any creature you run into play, and Standstill, a card that requires you actually cast a spell in order to trigger it. Note that using Aether Vial to put a creature into play isn't actually casting it, so a turn 1 Aether Vial and turn 2 Standstill can provide many a headache for an opponent. Once the Standstill is in place, you simply keep using Aether Vial to put more and more creatures into play, or keep attacking with your Mutavault until your opponent casts a spell and gives you 3 cards. Wasteland is another powerful land to play and activate while a Standstill is in play, as the format is teeming with non-basic lands. Destroying a man land such as Mutavault or Mishra's Factory on your opponent's battlefield, or knocking them back of mana is often a powerful way to get ahead in the game, or force them to break the Standstill. Daze and Force of Will are your de facto counterspells for the deck. Most of the time you will not be paying full price for these cards, instead using their alternate abilities in order to play them. Luckily, every card but lands, artifacts, and Tarmogoyf can be pitched to Force of Will in order to make sure something doesn't resolve. Umezawa Jitte is the final spell in the deck, as it only needs to be activated once or twice before it can take over an entire game by itself. It can kill creatures, pump the equipped creature, or gain you life in order to keep you playing the game, all 3 very powerful and crucial abilities. For the sideboard, Tormod's Crypt and Ravenous Trap show up often for the Dredge matchup, while Submerge is a powerful card in the mirror match, as both you and your opponent are playing Tropical Island, and putting a creature of theirs on top of their library for free can be a back-breaking tempo play. Spell Pierce and Divert do nasty things to control decks who try and counterspell your threats, while Divert is also powerful against any sort of burn strategy, as often those types of decks will not be thinking about keeping mana available in order to pay for it. Hydroblast and Blue Elemental Blast show up often as a catch-all to red spells and permanents prevalent in the format. I hope this overview has given you a little insight on how the Fish Legacy deck works. Be sure to check StarCityGames.com for all your Magic the Gathering needs.